Imagine a $100,000 Tesla Model X. It is, by all accounts, a masterpiece of silicon sensors and cutting-edge code. But right now, it's nothing more than a very expensive, very shiny paperweight, paralyzed in the middle of the Sahara Desert because of a minor software glitch in its battery management system. Next to it, a 1990 Toyota Hilux, rusted, dented, and older than the commercial internet, simply chugs along, indifferent to the heat, the dust, or the lack of a Wi-Fi signal. Why is it that in an era of artificial intelligence, self-driving electric vehicles, and fifth-generation engineering, the world's most elite military units, humanitarian organizations, and even localized rebel factions across every continent still swear by a machine from the early 90s? While the automotive industry has been trying to retire these aging mechanical relics for years to free up market share for sleek, high-tech alternatives, the unique geography and asymmetric threats of the world's harshest environments have made this warthog of the desert temporarily indispensable. It is the A10 thunderbolt of the road, low, slow, and famously difficult to kill. It all comes down to a brutal, beautiful paradox. In a world that is becoming increasingly complex, the most effective tool is often the one that is the most simple. The Hilux doesn't just survive these environments, it thrives in them. But to understand why this truck refuses to die, and why it remains the undisputed king of the literal coastal and desert environments, we first have to crack it open and understand the logic behind its raw, unyielding engineering. The Sahara is a death zone. It is a place where the mercury regularly hits 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and the sand acts like high-grit sandpaper on every moving part. If you aren't battling the heat of the desert, you're likely operating in a coastal environment where the salt spray eats through standard steel like acid. Modern SUVs are packed with thousands of sensitive microchips and delicate sensors designed for the paved suburbs of Los Angeles or London. One bad oxygen sensor, one overheated circuit board, or one stray pebble in a complex electronic air suspension, and the computer shuts the entire vehicle down to protect the investment. But the Hilux? It doesn't have an investment to protect. It has a mission to complete. It is built to operate at the edge of the map, where the nearest authorized mechanic is a 3-day trek away, and the fuel you're pumping into the tank is often more dirt than diesel. You can feed this engine the lowest grade kerosene or contaminated fuel, and the mechanical injectors will simply find a way to fire it. This is the logic of the raw over the refined. If something breaks on a Hilux in the middle of a conflict zone, you don't need a diagnostic laptop, a high-speed data connection, or a specialized technician flown in from Germany. You need a hammer, a roll of duct tape, and a little bit of grit. This isn't just marketing hyperbole, it is a documented historical fact. Consider the late 1980s, specifically a conflict so defined by this vehicle that historians literally call it the Toyota War. In the unforgiving sands of northern Chad, a fleet of these trucks, most of them already years old, were outfitted with heavy weaponry and sent to face a heavily armored Soviet-backed military force. The opposition had tanks. They had radar, they had sophisticated missile systems, but they didn't have the Hilux. The Chadian forces used the speed and reliability of these trucks to outmaneuver heavy armor in a way that modern military theorists still study today. They didn't win with stealth or high-tech fifth-generation technology. They won because their low-altitude ground attack vehicles could absorb heavy fire, keep moving, and be repaired in minutes using spare parts scavenged from the sand. Much like the A10's titanium bathtub cockpit armor allows it to keep flying after taking a hit, the Hilux's heavy-duty steel frame and redundant mechanical systems allow it to withstand significant battle damage and keep rolling. Risk a commander is much less willing to take with a fragile, million-dollar modern vehicle. While the rest of the world is chasing the next software update or the latest sensor suite, the Hilux is currently acting as the backbone of a layered tactical network on the ground, working directly alongside human grit to achieve the impossible. It all comes down to the rugged engineering behind its airframe, rather, its chassis. To see why this plane of the Earth refuses to die, we have to look past the rust and understand how it actually works. The Hilux is a ground support machine primarily constructed from high-tensile steel alloys. Its frame consists of multiple independent beams that run along the length of the chassis, providing exceptional structural integrity. Since these vehicles operate in intense conditions, often supporting ground troops under heavy fire, they are designed with a ruggedness capable of absorbing damage that would disintegrate a lesser car. It features extensive mechanical protection around its most critical components, making it exceptionally durable for close support missions. In fact, its reputation is built on a legacy of durability that translates into a literal survival mechanism. But it isn't just about the frame. This vehicle, along with its entire history, was built specifically to accommodate the heaviest loads and the most ruthless environments. To truly appreciate its scale and its power, we have to go back to the front, where the heartbeat of this legend begins. Let's start from the bottom. This truck, along with its entire reputation, was built specifically to survive what would crush any other vehicle. To see why, we have to look past the body panels and examine the steel skeleton underneath. This is a ladder frame chassis, unlike the unibody construction found in your modern crossovers, which rely on the outer shell for strength. The Hilux uses two massive independent beams made of high-tensile steel that run the entire length of the vehicle. Think of it as the structural beams of a ground attack jet, providing exceptional integrity under extreme stress. To give you an idea of its scale, let's compare the thickness of this steel to the armored plating on a standard police interceptor. You'll notice the Hilux frame is significantly more robust. It is designed with a rugged airframe, or rather, a chassis, capable of absorbing significant battle damage. This design allows it to carry or tow up to 3 times its own body weight without the frame twisting or snapping, a feat that would leave a luxury SUV totaled. It's a primitive design, but it's a design that refuses to bend. Moving to the rear, you'll find the suspension. No complicated airbags or computer-controlled shocks here. Instead, it uses leaf springs. These are essentially stacks of curved steel plates, a technology that mirrors the design of ancient archery bows. They are simple, they are heavy, and they are nearly indestructible. Each leaf is designed to work sequentially, allowing for maximum flexibility while maintaining a crushing load capacity. While modern suspension systems are designed for comfort on smooth asphalt, these leaf springs are built to absorb the brutal recoil of a mountain road while carrying a full squad of armed soldiers and their heavy gear. This persistent overwatch of the road allows the truck to maintain stability even when the terrain is actively trying to tear the wheels off. It's a relentless, low-tech solution to a high-stakes problem. It's why the truck sits high, allowing it to navigate deep mud or rocky terrain that would snag the underbelly and destroy the delicate undercarriage of a $100,000 stealth fighter on wheels. The entire frame is reinforced at critical stress points, much like the titanium bathtub of a Thunderbolt, ensuring that even if the outer body is riddled with holes, the heart of the machine remains perfectly aligned and ready for the next mission. Step over here. If you grab this iron handle and pull, you won't hear the soft click of an electronic actuator or the hum of a proximity sensor. You'll hear a solid mechanical thud. This is one of the few vehicles left where everything you touch is designed to last a century, not just until the next software update. Once inside, you'll notice that everything is clearly labeled and built for pure utility. Forget the massive touchscreens or the delicate haptic feedback buttons that fail the moment they get dusty. Right in front of you is a dashboard made of rugged, hard plastic and oversized switches. These were designed specifically so a driver could visually identify and engage them while wearing thick work gloves or in the middle of a chaotic environment. You'll find the manual gear stick and the transfer case lever. These are purely mechanical links to the transmission. No electronics required. But there's a secret to this cabin. Notice the lack of deep carpets or sensitive wiring exposed under the seats. This interior was designed to be hose-out friendly. If you've just spent the day driving through waist-deep mud or a desert monsoon, you can literally douse the entire floor with water to wash the grime away without worrying about a fatal short circuit. It is a cockpit built for a pilot who prioritizes survival and mission success over leather-stitched luxury. Feel free to take your time exploring this minimalist command center before we dive into the engine bay to see the heart of this beast. Now we come to the heart of the beast, the iron block diesel engine. This isn't just a motor, it is a masterpiece of mechanical stubbornness that defines the word unbreakable. While modern engines are controlled by a central digital brain that can be paralyzed by a single short circuit or an electromagnetic pulse, the Hilux engine, specifically the legendary 22R or 3L series, is a purely mechanical entity. The fuel is pushed into the cylinders by a mechanical pump, timed by gears, not software. This is exactly why you can bury this truck under the sand of the Sahara for 20 years, dig it out, and it will still fire. It doesn't need a diagnostic laptop or a high-speed data connection to tell it how to run. It only needs fuel, air, and compression. To put the strength of these internal components into perspective, let's look at the physics of the combustion chamber. When the piston moves toward the top of its stroke, the pressure inside the cylinder reaches over 400 pounds per square inch. To help you understand better, that is the same level of crushing pressure you would feel at a depth of nearly 1,000 feet under the ocean. This extreme, hostile environment is where the Hilux feels most at home. These engines don't just last, they refuse to die. In the United States, a car is often considered high mileage at 100,000 miles. A Hilux is just getting started. It is common to see these engines reaching 500,000 miles, or 800,000 kilometers, without a single major overhaul. To give you an idea of that scale, that is the equivalent of driving around the entire circumference of the Earth 20 times. But it isn't just about longevity, it is about power under extreme pressure. Because of the rugged ladder frame chassis we discussed earlier, the Hilux is the preferred platform for technicals, improvised fighting vehicles. Imagine this scenario: heavy 12.7mm machine gun mounted to the bed, unleashing a barrage of rounds. This weapon generates a massive amount of recoil. Just like the GA-08 Avenger cannon on the A-10 Thunderbolt generates more recoil force than one of its jet engines. The recoil from a heavy machine gun would tear the frame of a standard modern pickup truck apart, but the Hilux absorbs it. The redundant structural beams and the iron heart of the engine block act as a stabilized platform, turning a civilian workhorse into an indispensable tool of asymmetric warfare. It is the ultimate ground attack vehicle that never has to leave the dirt, in case the world ends and you find one of these in a junkyard. Let's go over the resurrection guide. First, check the oil, even if it's thick as tar. The mechanical tolerances are wide enough that it will likely still lubricate. Next, if the engine won't crank, take a hammer and give the starter motor a solid tap to wake up the internal solenoids. Now, pour in whatever fuel you can find: diesel, kerosene, or even filtered cooking oil. Glow the plugs for 10 seconds and turn the mechanical key. Feel that vibration? That is the sound of the iron heart coming back to life. If you find yourself facing a vertical rock wall or a sea of deep mud, reach down to the manual transfer case and shift into 4 low. This gear ratio multiplies the engine's torque to such an extreme level that the truck will crawl over almost any obstacle at a walking pace. You aren't just driving a car anymore, you're operating a survival mechanism. The Toyota Hilux is more than just a truck. It is a testament to the idea that humans can build things that outlast their creators. It is a reminder that in a world obsessed with the new, the shiny, and the fragile, there is still a place for the old, the rugged, and the real. We make these original videos from scratch, animated by humans using paper and grit to tell the stories of the machines that truly define our world. So please subscribe to not miss our next deep dive into the engineering that refuses to die. Because at the end of the day, when the screens go dark and the satellites fail, there is only one question that matters. If tomorrow the world collapses, which seat would you rather be in? A leather-stitched cockpit full of sensors, or the rusted cab of a Hilux? I think we both know the answer.